let's see how that comes out and if it works. If I've made a mess of them. Oh, the headlights look absolutely... Welcome back to the channel, guys, and the UK's cheapest Nissan 350Z, and this is also, I believe, episode 6 in the Polo to Porsche challenge that we're doing. Now, in today's video, we're going to tackle these nasty headlights. They are misted up, foggy, hazy, whatever you want to call it, and I also want to give them a facelift. So they're going to come out, which means the front bumper has to come off. We're also going to tackle the front and rear wipers, sand them down, paint them back, and I'm going to use a method used by ChrisFix. It was a video that he did over 8 years ago, and I'm going to see just how good that method is today. So let's go ahead, get that front bumper off and start progress. I'll see you in the video. Here we go again, and we're going to start with removing the front bumper, and there's 6 little push clips on the top of the front bumper, just easily pulled out with a flathead screwdriver, and they look like they've been out before, maybe even more than once. Some of them were already slightly broken, so they were really easy to get out. Then we come on to the under tray, and they should be held in by 6 or 7 10mm screws, and mine was just all cable tied together, so it made it even easier to pull out. So once I'd removed the clips at the top of the bumper and clipped the cable ties on the underside, there was just 3 little 10mm bolts inside the wheel arch liner that needed removing, and you could also remove them with a Phillips head screwdriver, which is what I had to do just to get access to them. And now you can see on the passenger side I actually don't have a wheel arch liner, so it's a little bit easier to see what I was doing there, and a little bit easier for me to access them and get them off. And once all of those had been removed, it was really quite simple just to pull the front bumper away from the car, but I'd left one cable tie that I missed on the underside, so I had to go back in and snip that one off, and then the bumper just came right off the car. So now I've got the front bumper off the car, I've got it hanging down, I've left it attached and not moved it out of the way because I've left the washer jets in place. As I disconnected them, a little bit of washer fluid came out, which isn't the end of the world, but just because I don't have anything to cable tie them up to hand right now, I've just left that in place. I did snap a bolt. There's the bracket here that actually goes up and holds the bumper, slides in between the front wing and this bracket. Now that snapped. I sheared the head off of one of the screws here, but I'm not too fast. I've got one that's spare that's hanging around, so I can use that to refix that on later when it comes to reassembling, or I can just put a nut and bolt through, so I'm not massively concerned. Now I need to take off the headlights. I've got 3 bolts. There's a 10mm bolt here at the top, there is a 10mm bolt under here, a 10mm bolt under here. I can loosen those off and the headlight should come back out and do the exact same on the other side. So I'll go ahead and get them done, and then we will get into using that ChrisFix method to permanently restore the front or the look of the headlights, and a little bit of a facelift to come. So let's get on with that now. So both headlights are now out of the car, and Well, it started to rain, so it's a good job we're in the garage, we're out of all that weather. But I've taken apart the first headlight, the passenger side headlight, and I've taken everything off. So the lens has been separated. I've got the just the main casing itself. All of the inside parts have come out, the wiring harness, the bulbs. Now on the passenger side, there isn't a wheel arch liner, so everything has been caked in dirt and mud. It still works, but everything is just a mess, so it's going to need a real good clean up, like the wiring harness here. And now you can really see just how bad that lens actually is in terms of the sort of like the oxidation there, but also the scratches, so they're going to need sorting and clearing off too. I've got the other headlight here ready, waiting to be done and disassembled, so that's what I'm going to get onto next, taking everything apart and then separating the headlight itself. Now, my initial plan was to put everything into the oven, heat it up, and evenly sort of heat that glue so that I could remove the lens, but the oven's just not big enough and I don't want the plastic casing touching the sides of the oven. So I used the heat gun on the first one, which is what I'm going to do on the second one, and I'll show you that process as well. So we'll go. And so with taking apart the headlight, I started off just by removing some of the outer screws that also help to hold the lens to the casing, and then it was just a case of taking apart all of the bits that were attached, the ballast that you can see me disconnecting there, and then I start going through the wiring loom, the bulbs, and everything that could be unscrewed. I unscrewed and took off and kept everything aside so that I knew where it was going back in later. Just a case of pulling everything out and setting it aside carefully and making sure I didn't touch the bulbs themselves or damage anything in the process. And now you can see me with the heat gun just gradually heating things up and prying it away, being really careful not to damage the lens or sort of flex the casing too much that it would leave us a real difficult job putting it back together. Woo! Nice. So now everything is taken apart and it's been sanded down. We can hit them with a coat of primer, especially the fact that they're a chrome covered piece. I wanted to make sure there was a real good surface for the paint to go on. And obviously once it's been primed and dried, then we can go with the first coat of satin black, the inside of the headlights. Now I know some of you are going to scream at me going black on the inside, but I really like the look. I think it brings it into a more modern look for the headlights, and hopefully the end product shows that as well. Okay, so everything's had a real good chance to dry. I've given it a good few hours, and now it's about reassembly, which is pretty much the same as taking it apart, just the opposite way round. And a little tip for you: if you're not going to do it all on the same day, take loads of pictures, because I promise you won't remember everything that you've taken apart and where it goes, what particular screws go in what place. But take a load of photos, videos, and it just makes it far easier to remember. And once everything was back inside, I cleaned the inside of the lens before I started to reconnect them to the light itself. And again, using a heat gun just to reactivate that glue and press everything back in together. And I knew I was going to have to go around it all afterwards anyway with some additional sealant just to make sure it's watertight, which is what I did. But I really wanted to get everything back together and make sure it fitted properly, and that I hadn't actually damaged the headlight in the process of taking it all apart. So with everything back together on both headlights and sealed all the way around to make sure they were watertight, it was back to refitting them to the car, making sure I'd got all of the brackets in, reconnected the headlight and just evenly spaced them out as best I could prior to putting the front bumper back on and lowering the bonnet too. Right, so now that the headlights are back on, I'm going to test them now. Fingers crossed everything works. We don't have any issues from there. Yes! So all the lights work. One thing I was really hoping we weren't going to have was any light issues. So now we know they work, we can get on to restoring these lenses too. So now we're going to move on to getting these headlight lenses cleaned up and really tidy, looking crystal clear again. And the method I said that I was going to use was a ChrisFix video, and it's a combination of sanding them down with different grades of sandpaper and then a clear coat lacquer over the top. So because these are quite bad, I'm going to start off with a 400 grit sandpaper. I'm going to do a wet sand on these, and then once we've got that first layer over, we'll gradually move to a 600 grit and then onto 1000 grit, and then we should have them nice and smooth, ready for that clear coat. So let's see how that comes out and if it works.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shoot tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the...
So finally I'm going with a microfine, more like a sponge. I'm still going to do a wet sand. I'm still going to go in circular motions first, and then I'm going to go straight across again. But I don't want to press too hard with this one, because this one is what's ultimately just going to give us that kind of more smoothed off finish. It already feels quite smooth, but we want to give it a little bit more of a smoother finish, ready for that top coat. So let's spray it up and go again. And now everything's been masked up. I've just used a normal bin bag over this, cut around the light and taped everything off to mask it. So I'm going to go with the first pass of clear coat, and we'll see how it ends up. Either it'll work or it'll look rubbish. So let's see. And so that, as quick as that, is the first pass. We'll give that 15 minutes to dry, let it set and see if it looks any good or if I've made a mess of them. We'll check out in about 10-15 minutes. So it's been about 10 minutes and this is the first coat of clear coat. Now there's still some deep scratches that I can see again in the headlight, but I'm not massively fussed. Guys, it's a 20-year-old car. I'm just trying to make it look a lot better. Now there's still some imperfections, but you know, more coats will build up that protective cover on the lens. So we'll go with the next coat and see how it looks in another 10 minutes or so. Good morning everyone. Well, it's now the following day. I've given everything the evening to dry. I also painted the other headlight, and whilst they've had the evening to dry, the weather stayed the same. It's still miserable out here. But let's go take a look, see what we think. Now, I can already see from a distance that the passenger side headlight doesn't look great. I'll show you that in a second, but there's also still some deep scratches in the headlight. It's way better down here than it was before, but if I get close, there's some scratches. There's also some deep scratches towards the top of the headlight as well. So Yeah, I mean the passenger side is probably a little bit worse. There's way more of these sort of like hairline scratches. So to tell you the truth, I just don't think I've sanded down far enough. I could leave it as it is, but I think it's going to really annoy me. So I'm going to go ahead, sand them down again, re-lacquer them, and hey, it's not ideal, but I guess this is part and parcel of it. I'm learning too, so I'm not going to bore you with showing you all that again. I'll do a quick sand down. Well, it's probably going to take me ages, but I'm going to sand down and re-lacquer them, and we'll see how they look like. So hopefully they look a lot better, and if they do, you've got to smash that like button for me, guys. The headlights look absolutely rubbish. They cannot stay like this. They're just, the lacquer's just not clearing up. It's not giving that crystal clear look that we need. So I think they're just going to have to be stripped back completely. Now, I found a headlight restoration kit online with Euro car parts, and for the sake of 20 quid, I think it's going to be worth a go just to bring these back. Unless you guys have got any other suggestions, please let me know in the comments section below. Now, unfortunately, that's going to be the end of today's video, but guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give me all the support you can with the likes, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I've got to go now and get the wipers painted, finished up and put back on the car, so you'll see that in the next video. We'll get these finished, and we need to start moving on to some of the more important jobs so we can get this car done, sold, and on to the next one. So I'll see you guys in the next video.